Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Am I the Asshole podcast. I'm joined by a very special guest today, actor, writer, director, Shannon Dee. Shannon, welcome to the program.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So right off the bat, I got to go to what we literally were just talking about. You know, I've been on some dates with actors, women, and I'll go, "Aren't you an actress?" And they go, we don't do actress anymore. I said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." It makes sense to me, but you said you could go either way with it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I don't know why. I think actress is like kind of cute, but I think like on my website I put like actor, writer, director, but it really doesn't bother me at all.
I think it's cute too. Can't it just be cute? Does it always have to be?
Cute.
It's cute. She's an actress. I don't know. But I guess if you were a character actor, that I guess makes more sense because it's almost like you could be anyone. But like I guess maybe that is the problem. Is that actress? I do go to an Audrey Hepburn thing. Some people feel pigeonholed by it. You don't.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't even think about it, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't bother me either way. I mean, I guess I think about it like when I'm writing on my website or, writing an email. And I guess I do put actor. It kind of feels a little more professional. I guess actress, you're right. It does seem very like old school Hollywood. So I guess actor is the final answer, but it doesn't offend me at all when people say actress.
I'm erring on the side of caution. When I go on these dates, I'm like, you're an actor. You're an actor. Yeah. Okay. Now this is really interesting. So you've done, you're producing your own stuff now. You produced a new web series, Not From Around Here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Not From Around Here is a sci-fi comedy. It's as if it's an alternate universe if there was life on all of our planets in the solar system, and they all sort of acted like how the world acts with the different countries. And so that's the macro picture that's going on. But the micro picture that we see is a bunch of roommates that are aliens and humans and tripping on drugs and getting into trouble and, just a bunch of shenanigans. So
it's comedy, it's lighthearted, but it's kind of got this underlying theme of, like racial differences. Does it go that hard or not that much? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Pretty subtly, but it's definitely mentioned. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of a perfect time to be putting it out in 2020 that we do touch on stuff like that. Like at one point, instead of the word racist, we made it spacist.
That's fun.
So just like little things like that. And it definitely takes like a way more lighthearted approach to it than, other things.
Right. Well, I like I like that generally for sure. I was watching the first episode. Very funny stuff. You did this kind of tumble that I was very impressed by, and then the jokes are making me laugh. It feels like very like comedy literate to me, like where people are like, "That's your bit right now." I love stuff like that, like kind of self-aware comedy.
Yeah, it's definitely can be like kitschy for sure. But I guess I would kind of relate it to like New Girl, Workaholics, Broad City kind of vibe. So if you're not into sci-fi, for all the listeners out there, because I know sometimes that can turn people off, it's really like you don't have to like sci-fi to like this. It's just like for comedy lovers, basically. There's no like battling in space or anything like that. It's just like, millennials having fun together.
That's great. You guys can actually check out the web series it's on YouTube, but you can find the link on Shannon's Instagram. Look at me. I'm Shannon Dee, and Dee is how you spell D. Now, you were telling me, so, you are an actor in LA, that you've done some partial nudity gigs. This seems very touchy to me. And, we all know about kind of the Weinsteins of the world and stuff. And I'm very curious how the etiquette of that, pans out and how you were made to feel during these scenes. What happened there?
Well, with the first role on TV I ever got was on this show called Animal Kingdom on TNT. And it was no lines actually, but it wasn't an extra. It was like the next step up. And they said it was going to be partial nudity and simulated sex. And I was like going back and forth, like, do I really want to do that? They wouldn't even tell me what position, like sex position it was going to be in either. So I was like, okay, well, partial nudity, but he could have me in like a really compromising position that I don't know that it's worth doing that.
Right. So
So
when you say worth it, are you weighing in your head like your personal comfort of doing that? Or is it sort of a marketability thing? Or yeah, like what exactly are you weighing when you look at this kind of choice?
for me, I was definitely weighing both because I'm definitely a more modest person and I wasn't super comfortable with that. But then also, yeah, like, okay, if I do this role, does that mean I can never be like on the Disney Channel or something as like a parent or, like the kooky older sister? I just didn't want to like potentially limit my future jobs. And but I discussed it with, my agent, my manager, my acting coach, and my parents too, just like seeing what they thought about it. And the general consensus was like, this isn't a student film, it's a network television show. And I definitely knew I wasn't going to be like uncomfortable on set because I had been on sets before and I knew that they would be, putting a robe over me right away. And the actor that I was with would definitely be respectful. But it was just more like, well, is this worth like potentially ruining future jobs? But
Right.
yeah, so it definitely ended up working out, luckily. But I mean, that's kind of the thing that actors have to face a lot of times is, um, especially actresses, have to face, doing nudity. A lot of auditions I get require partial nudity, and it's kind of disappointing because I think more often than not, it's just for the male gaze.
That's
So,
juicy. That's juicy. So okay, so you don't like it because just for the male gaze. In other words, sex sells, and this is basically just like, we're gonna kind of cater to this lowest common denominator, which is dudes just being like, "Oh, I want to see that." Is that what you mean?
yeah, that's what I think.
Now, I'm very curious just in the etiquette of this. So you mentioned the robe, so you're kind of there, and like, can I, if it's okay, can I dial in? Is it we're talking about being topless?
This one was actually just my butt was showing.
Okay.
And
So
I guess
yeah.
I was naked on the top too because it was like it wasn't actually it didn't end up being simulated sex. It just ended up being post coitus. Is that the word?
God, that's what I call it. I go, it's time
Yeah.
for post coitus,
Post
sweetheart. Come
coitus.
here. It's my favorite part.
Grab the
This is the part where I
cigarettes.
tell myself I did a good job. Yeah, grab a cigarette.
um, so yeah, it didn't even end up like I wasn't even having sex with him, but it was like I was lying there and the camera was from behind. So I had on pasties and they had on like, whatever the equivalent to pasties are for your vagina.
Mm,
And then, yeah, between every action and cut, they threw the robe over me right away and clear
that's
the
kind of fun.
room. Like they get rid of anyone that's not necessary, like the lighting people who they already did their job, so they get out of the room. They pretty much just leave like the director, the camera guy, the sound guy, and then the other actor.
Oh, so they kind of make it like an intimate affair. That seems like very respectful and like well thought out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And there's like shoot, I can't remember the name, but there's a job on set that is literally there for that. Oh, intimacy director or something like that. Intimacy consultant. To make sure that everything's comfortable for the actors.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's so cool. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's good that it was a good experience for you overall, right? I mean, you weren't uncomfortable throughout it, and it didn't affect your kind of career arc, so it was a win-win in the end, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome. And it definitely like opened up doors for me to get more auditions, get more roles. So it ended up working out for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I've never written anything with partial nudity, but now I know you got to get an intimacy director. You can't
Yeah.
just wing it, people.
Yeah. So I'm hoping for, I always joke that as my roles go on, I slowly get more clothes on each time. Like I've done that, and then I was like a stripper before, and then I was in a bikini, and then I was in like a really small outfit. Most recently, I was like, oh, a casino waitress on this new HBO show coming out.
There
And
we
I have on
go.
like the little, like a really little shorts and like this vest, but still it's like I'm slowly getting more clothes on. So I'm like crossing my fingers next time for a full outfit.
I mean, I want the best for you. I'm hoping you are in a burqa. You know what I mean? Like, let's just cover it all
Yes,
up and then you'll know
please
you made it.
manifest it for me.
Well, we got a juicy ep for you guys today. Our second story of the day, AITA for showing my boyfriend a movie that offended him. But first, AITA for causing a huge fight over a movie at someone else's B-Day party. So my 19F friend, also 19F, I'll call her Leah, started dating a boy, and I hadn't met him yet. It was her 19th birthday last Sunday, so she invited me and some other friends over for a movie night and some pizza. Lockdown restrictions have been lifted where I live. Important thing to know about me is that I'm deaf. I can't lip read very well, and I only really use ASL or writing to talk to other people. Most of my friends sign a little, and I have a speech to text app on my phone that I use when people don't sign. It's not completely accurate, but usually people can see what the captions say and correct it if anything's wrong. I came over and introduced myself to Leah's boyfriend. He seemed nice, but I think she forgot to tell him I was deaf because he looked really surprised when I started signing. But then he told me it was kind of coincidence because we're going to watch a horror movie on Netflix and the lead is deaf. I actually thought that was cool. More people came over, we all hung out for a bit, and then decided to start watching the movie. When it started, I asked if he could put the captions on, and he said no. I asked why, by the way. Most of this conversation is being interpreted through my friends. He said because most of the movie is in sign language, so I don't need it. Oh boy. There are a lot of
Wow.
speaking parts and onomatopoeia in the movie that are pretty important. He said I could just use my phone for the speech to text, but one, it's a movie and I want to watch it rather than staring at my phone. And two, if any words were wrong, then there was no way for me to know. He suggested that one of my friends interpret for me, but we said no because we wanted to just enjoy the movie. Leah asked why he was
Oh
so
my
bothered by
God.
captions, and he said they distract him. Most people sided with me, including Leah, but him and two of his friends think I was at his party. It was technically Leah's party, but it was at his house. And he gave me good
Mm.
alternatives, and I was just being picky. We ended up putting the captions on, but after the movie, when we were all talking about it, he said, like, I liked it, but I would have been able to enjoy it a lot more if we didn't have captions.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
God. Now I kind of feel like an asshole and I read stories on here sometimes, so I decided to post. AITA, should I just use speech to text so I didn't have to distract from the movie considering I was at his house?
No, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
this is this is criminal. I don't think I've hated a
That
person in a
is
story as
so
much as this
bad.
guy. I
That's
mean,
so bad. I mean, wow. No words.
the best I can say about him, like the only defense I have run into these people in my life who are like, I can't do captions. I can't do captions. And
Mhm.
they make a really big deal out of it. And like for
Mhm.
me, I prefer captions because I don't know, I'm stupid. I can't hear what they say sometimes. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
I like it.
especially, well, going back to the Game of Thrones thing, in the beginning, I wanted to use the captions, but my boyfriend was like, no. I mean, he did put them on briefly, and I was like, actually, I think I'm okay without him. Because I mean, if I can watch it without, I would prefer to watch without. But if it's like a British show, like we watched Sherlock over the summer, and
Right.
I couldn't understand anything they're saying. And they're talking about such complex stuff that it was like, okay, we both agreed we needed captions. But like this woman has a disability. That's so fucked up for him to deny her that for his own comfort.
Right. It's like I don't know that this app thing, he's like really running with it, and it's just so ridiculous to think. Like, first of all, what app is like remotely perfect, especially in the translation domain? Like they're all like
Mm-hmm.
pretty bad,
Right.
and then it's just like he's kind of like doubling down and acting like the app is going to solve all the problems. Um
And then, he would be like, oh, that light is so bright. Can you turn your phone
Yeah. Yeah. Can you
down?
make it dim? Put it on like that orange thing. Cause
Like
it's
he
like,
wouldn't be happy either way. And just the snide remarks afterwards, like, fuck off, bro. And what is Leah doing this whole time?
it's her party. She doesn't really jump in. I think I might be ready to come. Well, she says that Leah took her side, but
Yeah.
him and two of his friends think I was at his party and that they were being picky. Being picky. What a concept that this is
Picky.
being picky.
Over. Okay, hold on. It's Leah's birthday party, right?
Yes, but it's at his house.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, there's no way. I'm sorry, he's a dick for this.
He's a dick. Cat McKay 14 writes NTA. Who the F does this dude think he is? He's going to tell you, the only one who's deaf, when you do and don't need captions. And his whole reason for objecting was because he would be distracted. Wow, that guy is an asshole, and so are his friends. I hope Leah drops this dude.
Mm-hmm. She won't.
I hope. Yeah, I know. They never do. But I feel like, that's the other thing here is like, fine, I can grant you that it's somewhat distracting. It's literally distracting you with the dialogue. Like, it's not really going to throw your whole experience. Like, that is being such a drama queen about this.
And also, she literally won't be able to watch the movie. It's two completely different situations. It's not like you both just don't like it. Like, she literally won't be able to enjoy the movie at all because she's going to miss so much stuff. And all you have to do is just ignore the fucking captions.
It's nothing. It's a no-brainer. No more pants for me, writes NTA. I know the movie and it's super important. There are sounds happening when the main character doesn't, which you would otherwise completely miss. He was totally being unreasonable. Somebody piped in the movie is Hush for anyone who's itching for the movie title. I haven't actually seen Hush.
No, me neither. I don't do scary movies.
Oh, you can't handle it, huh?
No, I'm such a little bitch about it.
I love to watch a scary movie. I think it's not alone. I can't handle it. And if it's too religious, I can get really freaked out, but I love a scary movie.
Well, the thing is, I love true crime stuff. Like, I cannot get enough of true crime docs, which is like actual real life horror.
That doesn't
but
scare
the like
you.
ghost in the closet I'll lose sleep for like 4 months.
That's funny. Yeah, it's like this guy literally lived right next door to you and murdered 15 people. We have not caught him, and you're like sleeping like a baby, but one ghost, one sheet overhead, and you've lost it.
Literally. It's ridiculous.
I think we agree on this one. A no-brainer. AITA for causing a huge fight over a movie at someone else's B-Day party. It didn't have to be a fight. This boyfriend was just fighting for no reason. I think this one's a big NTA, and the boyfriend is AITA for showing my boyfriend a movie that offended him. Yes, this is my Los Angeles theming, people, okay? I search for movies. I, 20F, am a big movie buff. My boyfriend, 24M, is really into superhero movies, and that's it. But I've been getting him into watching movies with me. I taped the movie Taped? Who tapes a movie? What are you talking about, OP?
Yeah. Somebody said that to me the other day. She was like, I'll tape the show and then we can watch the next day. I was like, tape the show? Like, we'll watch it on Hulu, girl. What are you talking about?
You're going to tape the program? What
How
are you
do you
doing?
even do that these days?
OP goes on. I hadn't watched it in a while, and I remembered it being really funny, so we watched it together. Rewatching it, my opinion didn't change at all, but my boyfriend was really quiet after. I asked him what was wrong, and he told me he couldn't believe he had to see, quote, Superman and Pennyworth kiss, because Christopher Reeve and Michael Caine kiss in the movie. I kind of laughed it off, but that wasn't the end. He keeps bringing it up. This morning, I was cleaning. He asked if I could put the product in his eyes because of it. I was like, okay, haha. But then he brings it up again during brunch, saying he's not going to be able to keep the food down because he saw Superman and Pennyworth kiss.
Oh my
I asked him if it was really that big of a deal, and he said Superman was his favorite childhood movie, and he won't be able to watch it again. Two of my best friends are a lesbian couple, and I know he likes them, so I don't want to think this is homophobia, but because of how much older Michael Caine was, maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm confused that it offended him so much. He said that I could at least have given a warning knowing that he loves Superman so much. It wasn't even a full-on makeout, and it only happens once, AITA.
Okay. Okay, so wait, they just peck? I haven't seen this. Have you?
I haven't. I'm in a complete place of ignorance. I don't even know who Pennyworth is. I thought Pennyworth was the it clown. Surely
Yeah, that's what I thought.
that's Pennywise. I guess
Oh,
Pennyworth
Pennywise.
here looks like a guy with a gun, so he's some kind of action hero.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, regardless, like if it was a peck or a make out, you know, he's being a little bit crazy about it. I do have like a story that kind of relates with this. So my dad, who's not homophobic at all, like he's a very open-minded human being. He loves cowboys and westerns. And when Brokeback Mountain came out, he like was watching the trailer and he was just like, cowboys don't kiss, they're my heroes. I was like really upset about it.
Oh my god.
And we were like, Dad, open up your mind. But I kind of like, I can see where he's coming from, where it's like Superman is like his hero. And you know how men can be, where they just don't want to ever see their, like, I mean, you know, we live in a world where we all were raised with what am I trying to say? Like internalized homophobia or internalized like white supremacy, like all of that stuff, you know? And I guess I can get why he's upset about it, but he's taking it really far. And it's definitely teetering on homophobia.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to see. I personally don't know that I relate with this. Like, I think I do have some like male heroes, but like I'm not. I don't know. Their sexuality is like irrelevant. I don't know. I just like I don't care. I don't know. If I saw them kissing, I would just be. I would more. My reaction would more be like I don't care about your personal life.
Right.
But I guess when we're talking about a depiction, right? Like that's your dad's reaction. Is that, homophobic per se? I don't know. I guess it's a little weird to be like, oh, well, I need to have the image of the cowboy remain strong and heteronormative. It's like, okay,
Right.
that's something you need. You really need that. Like it's a little, I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to see it as anything but homophobic because I tend to think this is what it is. The reaction I think for most people is just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's happening. It's like it's the kind of the negativity of it that I'm like, well, why do you even care? Like it's just irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. And just the fact that he keeps harping on it, like he cannot let it go. I would
No, and this
definitely be like, okay, dude, like chill the fuck out. Like, why you keep thinking about it? Are you like getting turned on by it or what's
yeah,
going on? You want to just keep talking about it?
right, yeah, I think that's a really good point. You're the one who keeps bringing it up. You're essentially forcing yourself to think about it. It's a really weird thing to fixate on either way. Like, even if I kind of cut out the homophobic aspect of this and it's just like I showed my like significant other a movie and then they keep bringing up a part like that hurt their eyes in any kind of sense, I'd be like, look, I don't know. I don't know why you're wired like this. This is like, who cares? It was a scene in a movie. It doesn't matter.
Right. And just that he's like genuinely mad at her about it. Like, how was she supposed to know you were going to react in such a negative way? It's not
It's
her fault.
No, and it's not even like, yeah, it's just such a non thing. Madeline Gumbo writes, NTA, if your boyfriend requires trigger warnings before cinematic gay kisses, it's his responsibility to let you know. How are you supposed to know? He's being an asshole, and his comments about not being able to keep food down are bigotry. I can go with that, honestly, like kind of stretching this. It's honestly like two things that piss me off, which one is just when people fucking lie, like
Mm,
overstating their feel. It's like, fine. Maybe I just give this to you and say, it's not like homophobia, but you just like really can't stand to look at it. Fine. I like if that's your existence, it's kind of whack to me, but
mm-hmm,
to then stretch it, right, and be like, oh, I literally can't eat. It's like, shut up. That's not
mm-hmm.
real. It's like kind of gaslighty, honestly. It's manipulative.
Yeah. And I know, like, I feel like throughout history, I've heard a lot of guys say, like, I'm fine with it. I just don't want to see it about guys kissing. And
Right.
it's like, well, I mean, maybe the problem is like you actually need to see it more. Like we need to see that more regularly in television and movies, and so that it becomes more normalized and it isn't so like, oh, my eyes, and that you need a trigger warning for it.
Right. I mean, it just honestly, it's very theatrical. This whole
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, it really does feel like just it. This is going a different way with it, but it does kind of evoke blue balls. I remember when guys used to talk about blue balls, or actually it was
Mm-hmm.
girls, because guys would say it too. Girls would be like, "Oh, give me blue balls." And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't know, maybe it is a thing, but like I never known an adult, like in my 30s now, I've never known a guy like, "Oh yeah, real blue ball." No, that's not a thing. That is like a manipulative theatrical overstatement that you're using to get what you want, essentially.
I just overheard someone talking about that the other day on a relationship podcast, and I asked a male friend of mine, and he was like, "No, it is real. It's definitely real. They heard." I was like, "Oh, but now you're saying it's not." So I don't know what to believe. Is it really like not even? You've never experienced it?
I mean, I've experienced, someone being like, "No, I don't want to fuck you. Let's dry hump." It's frustrating. Like I want
Mm-hmm.
to, but there's no like, I don't know what blue ball. Maybe like well, the way I hear it used is like, "Oh, I'm in pain." Oh, it's like, no, you're not in pain. You're just horny and you can't relieve your horniness. Like it's not. I feel like the whole thing is just over, and there's nothing blue. That's what it is. There's nothing blue about it. You're just
Well, yeah.
overstating. It's just like nothing is happening. You just have an erection, dog. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Wait, but what? How does that relate back to this?
It's
The blue
men
balls?
just kind of, it's well, because look, people are allowed to pick, like, this guy's be like, "Oh, it makes me want to throw up." And it's like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's
Oh, right,
ridiculous.
right.
You're just overstating your emotion and trying to justify it, like acting like it's some kind of biological imperative. It's like, dude, no, it's not. And I think, and that's that's the other thing I don't like about this guy is like, what does he want to happen? What does he want from this?
Right.
It's
Like
like he's just like,
what is she supposed to do? Like, okay, sorry, I'll let you know next time like two men make out on screen or when your heroes make out on screen.
yeah, it's like, it's
Write it
so
down. Write me a
weird.
list of your heroes and I'll make sure to vet every movie just in case they turn out to be gay.
It's like, what? He said that I could at least have given a warning. Like, are you a child? Like, maybe we should go by the rating system and PG is kind of your limit. This guy's a clown. Howard Project writes, NTA standard male homophobia is totally fine with female gay couples because it's part of straight male fantasy. Regardless of what you want to think, your boyfriend is homophobic.
I think also the other thing too is that he's potentially just not comfortable with his own sexuality.
Yeah, like there's an insecurity here.
Because I feel like when men are comfortable with who they are and don't have, like, aren't leaning or whatever, just are comfortable with their sexuality, they don't like harp so much on what other people are doing with their sexuality.
Totally. Totally. I mean, I think that's true about everything. I think people being like hyper controlling and hyper judgmental, that usually is just about like something that's going on with you that you feel the
Mm-hmm.
need to like project that onto the world.
Yeah, your own insecurities. I mean, yeah, other times when you hate what someone else is doing, a lot of times it's something that you do as well.
Yeah, I mean, I am ready to call it homophobic. Like, I don't necessarily think the guy is like, I don't know. The fact that he went to this retching thing just really does piss me off because it's just like he's not even being cognizant of the fact that like it is at least tone deaf. It's just like kind of
Mm-hmm.
comes off as ignorant. I think we see eye to eye on this one. AITA for showing my boyfriend a movie that offended him. NTA, and he
NPR,
is
he's the asshole.
AITA for telling my friend that no one is impressed that she lives in Los Angeles. I had to throw this one in, Shannon. I
Wait.
had to do it. I had to do it. We're from Iowa. Granted, nothing ever happened. I think that's my favorite line. Granted, nothing ever happened. Okay. Nothing ever happened in Iowa. Nothing. You're rounding to zero with
Just
the whole
nothing at
state.
all.
That's not true. I've been to Des Moines. I've been to Zombie Burger. I like the burgers anyway.
Oh, never heard
Granted,
of it.
Oh, it's delicious. Granted, nothing ever happened. The weather isn't all that great. She moved to LA to find work behind the scenes on TV. She works in an office that reps quote unquote social media celebrities and no one that I've ever heard of. She just talks endlessly about LA life, the beach, how glamorous it is. In reality, she's broke, can barely make ends meet, really doesn't have many friends, and there are a lot of ugly people out there.
Whoa, okay.
What? What is going on? It's just neither interesting nor impressive. It's overrated like the $15 cold pressed juice she can't afford but buys so she can take a picture of it. I guess LA is a good place to live if you are filthy rich, but a terrible place if you are broke. I finally told her that and she got mad. The truth is that Australia is a million times better than LA.
What?
AITA.
Wow, someone has some serious vendettas against LA. And what does Australia have to do with it?
I think OP moved to Australia.
Oh,
That's my interpretation. You grow up in Iowa where nothing ever happened. And some people go to LA and some people go to Australia, and those are all the
okay.
possible
Those are your two
outcomes.
options. Okay. I mean, what are you so upset about, OP? Like, is this really bothering you that much?
It really seems a lot like the last situation where it's like the fact that you're fixated on these things. Like, look, none of this is an affront to you. Like, whatever, you're disinterested. So, like, change the subject. Like none of this is offensive.
Right. It's not hurting you in any way. I almost feel like she's actually just still in Iowa and she's mad because she's seeing, the stuff that her friend is posting online, having FOMO. And then at the end,
Mm.
she's just like, she just thought of another place that's better than LA and like threw that in there.
I
That's
think
my
you're right. Oh
interpretation
my God,
of
I think
it.
you're right. Here's why I think you're right. Australia is not a place, like
Yeah.
Perth is a place.
Right.
Sydney is a place. Australia is the outback, really. You think the outback is a
Yeah.
million times better than LA. Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think obviously she has a weak grasp of places with nothing ever happened in Iowa. It's totally a chip on her shoulder.
Yeah, she's just having FOMO. And I mean, I get that. Like a lot of LA and people that I know out here are, influencers or want to be influencers or just trying to constantly promote themselves. And there's definitely, uh, there's definitely like grass is always greener and they're definitely making it seem like their life is way better than it actually is. Or, I mean, you know how social media it is. It's all about highlight reels. And so I think she's just getting jealous that she's still at home and maybe her friend is being obnoxious with the way she's acting, but I don't know, it seems she's a little bit just mad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think she has a chip on her shoulder about it. It's like a lot of things that don't seem valid. I mean, this line, no one that I've ever heard of, it really seems like she feels threatened by her friend's success in LA. And she's trying to shoot her friend down a little bit, like, so
Mm-hmm.
what? You never heard of them. What are you trying to prove? My question for you, though, Shannon, as I am flirting with moving to LA, and people have told me this,
Mm-hmm.
they go, Danny, you're not going to like LA. People in LA are shallow and they don't go deep. And I already know that you're not like that because we've gone very deep on this pod. But tell me,
Thank you.
is that in the air? Am I in for a little bit of a wake up call?
Okay, well, I'm from New Jersey, so I know the whole East Coast life as well. And so when I moved over here after college, it definitely was a bit of a wake up call as far as like my new friendships were just not as, say, like ride or die as my friends at home were. And of course, like I have more history with my friends at home, but even just the simplest thing of like asking for a ride somewhere, like needing a favor or anything, like normally I could like call my friend and they would be down to help right away. And with the people out here, they just felt more they're your friend when it's convenient for them and kind of flaky. But that was more people that I was working in the industry. I was working at a talent agency. But LA is such a melting pot of people from not only all over the United States, but all over the world. So there's a lot of awesome people out here too. You just have to find your group of people. And I mean, a lot of people from ASU that live out here. So, and I knew a ton of ASU people and some of my high school friends live out here now too. And so you just got to find like your people. But yeah, I think for the most part, I've had a really great experience. Most of the people that I haven't had good experiences with are like acquaintances, and I didn't continue my friendship with them.
Well, that's a relief to hear. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's no surprise that LA would run a little bit that way, but I think those are wise words. It's just like, obviously, there's shitty people everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just, what is the flavor of shitty? Obviously, in LA, it's the movie business, so it's more looks oriented, but I'm sure there's like
Mhm.
plenty of assholes in Baltimore.
Oh,
Like,
definitely. Yeah, exactly what you
and
said. Like,
Australia.
and Australia, a million times more than LA.
So PL 487 disagrees with our analysis, which says the OP is just using Australia as a random example. They wrote, "No one's impressed that you live in Australia. It's a terrible hot desert filled with sociopathic descendants of criminals and a million types of venomous animal that are trying to
Oh my
kill you.
God.
It's a good place to live if you're dumb, but terrible if you've got some intelligence. LA is a million times better than Australia. See how that feels? Feel the outrage burning in you for someone judging an entire culture that you are part of based on some random stereotypes that they saw on TV? That's why you're the asshole."
Yeah.
Pretty
I
great
mean, I
comment.
can see that too. That's great. Well, also going back to what did she say? And there are a lot of ugly people out there. Like, what is that about?
What?
Like, you're
That's
sorry, YTA, honey, with just saying that. Because what does that have anything to do with your issue with your friend? Like, I could understand if your friend was constantly like
nothing.
just only talking to you about maybe vapid things and was never taking an interest in your life and was just monopolizing the entire conversation, only talking about LA. But she doesn't
Right.
really say that here. She's just like really mad at LA for some reason. And
That's
hey,
spot
LA,
on.
I mean, there's definitely parts of LA I do not like. Like, I'm not trying to defend LA. There's a lot of shitty stuff here as well. But yeah, something's going on with this girl. She needs a little TLC, I think.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. She really doesn't even claim to be offended or hurt. This is really just trying to bash on LA and then kind of aiming that at her friend who's like done nothing to her. It's just bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unchecked. AITA for telling my friend that no one is impressed that she lives in Los Angeles. Well, in isolation, I think that's an okay thing to say, but I don't feel like this friend is like really fronting, like, fine, maybe she's posting the juice like she can afford it. And who among us hasn't posted juice they can't afford, people? We all do
Right.
this. I get a $10
Yep.
smoothie. I got to get more value out of this thing. I spent
Exactly.
a lot of money on peanut butter and ice like a
You need some
moron.
content.
I need some content from it. I think we agree on this one. AITA for telling my friend that no one's impressed she lives in Los Angeles. We are saying you're the asshole.
Yep. YTA, hun.
Well, Shannon, it's been an absolute joy to have you on the pod. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Check out the web series. You can access it on Shannon's Instagram. Look at me. I'm Shannon Dee, spelled Dee.
And it's called Not From Around Here. You can find on YouTube and the links in my Instagram too. But yeah, this was so much fun. I'm such a huge fan of the pod.
Let me throw out a public props to that note, Shannon. Guys, I've been having a lot of guests on, as you know. Shannon she referenced the Anthony days. She is like OG. Shannon, anybody who listens to the pod, you don't know how many, every person, oh, I never listened to it. You're welcome. Anytime, DM me, yell at me like all the other listeners do. I love to hear it. It's been an absolute joy having you.
Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. Thank you. What a blast.
Thank you. We'll see you guys next time.